All right, today I'm going to be talking about the Bells of Steel lat pull down low row machine, and this is the one that has the 310-pound weight stack. This is going to be, I believe, the last of my cable related series, and I'll get into that here in this video that I wanted to wrap up the year with. And intentionally, you guys can see I got the GetRx Phoenix cable tower here in frame just to kind of show you that I've been testing out a lot of stuff. If you guys want some background videos and context, I will link some of those down below in the description box. I also recently covered the Bells of Steel plate-loaded freestanding cable tower, which is another one of their, if not the most popular selling item on their website. I've had this lat pull-down low-row station equally same amount of time, but it's been off camera. And I was gonna kind of wait to actually release this, but I see that Bells of Steel has dropped the early Black Friday deals right now. And I'm seeing this one is on that website as well, along with the cable tower at 21% off. And based on kind of what I was hearing from them, I believe this is going to be the steepest discount they're probably going to offer. I assume they're going to kind of roll this into maybe Black Friday, but I also see that they're also in limited quantities. When I've talked to Bells of Steel in the past, whatever you kind of see in their website in quantities usually is fairly accurate. So I thought I'd put this out there as some potential competition, whether you're comparing this to maybe the Titan Fitness one. Maybe you're just considering just how this overall functions and feels. In my own take, just using a dedicated lat pull down low row station. That was predominantly another reason why I wanted to cover this. So I'll break down those pros and cons, the points to consider, and of course the price that it's sitting at right now, which I think is going to be probably the best it's going to be at for this particular machine in this year, and probably likely in the future, assuming that most prices are going to slowly increase in general. Any questions, comments, feedback, of course, let me know. Drop them down in the description box. I will happily answer those. And always in full disclosure, Bells of Steel did send this out free for review, and I specifically requested this one along with that cable tower because I think for yours truly, and I think for a lot of people out there, this is going to be one of their competitive buys that makes a lot of sense for many people's home gym setups. So if you guys like honest reviews like this, the Black Friday page is still updated daily, and I do have the Bells of Steel link down below if it helps support me in the channel to pick up anything from Bells of Steel now and in the future. All right, assembly and unboxing first. This thing comes in 2 long boxes, and then I think a couple smaller regular size boxes, and a bunch of maybe 4 or so weight stack plates, because like I said, you can get the 310-pound stack, which is what is given here. Did not take very long to assemble. Bells of Steel in due fashion does not give you any tools, so FYI on that. It is a little cumbersome in some spots, and you definitely need 2 people. And this is coming from somebody who pretty much always get in tricky situations. I will assemble this usually solo, but I had to have one of my kids kind of help brace me up here, and that's with these 2 parts up there. So you're gonna need definitely 2 people to kind of hold these intact. Otherwise, everything else was pretty easy to kind of assemble and put together. Getting into what I think are some of the standout features, and then I'll get up close here in a second, discuss the pros and cons, but I'll be, of course, comparing this to the Titan Fitness one, which if you were to look online for a designated lat pull down low row station that isn't in that Rogue or Rep Fitness price range, this is kind of in somewhat of a budget category. And there's a reason why I'm still keeping the Phoenix cable tower, other cable towers, because I'm still going to do like a final wrap up probably in the coming weeks. But as it stands right now, kind of time sensitive, this is $10 more being on sale with the Titan Fitness one, which is also on sale. They look almost like carbon copies, and I will point out some of the differences. I would say as it stands right now, with the price point being only $10 more, I think this has something going for it that the Titan Fitness does not have. Specifically that this has a 310-pound weight stack versus Titan Fitness is at 300 pounds. So it seems like they just try to kind of like one up Titan Fitness a little bit there.
Okay, all right, I see where you're going.
You have aluminum pulleys, which are present on both of them. This has a decent, Bells of Steel-ish powder coating, which is not commercial grade, but it's also not, extreme budget category. And it is 2.3 by 2.3 inch spacing, kind of like their cable tower that I just reviewed. And you got the 5/8 pins, so you could put a bunch of their various attachments they sell on their website, or any kind of 5/8 size pin attachment that might fit this dimension as well. What this also has going for it that is kind of subtle compared to Titan Fitness is going to be that they actually have a band peg option. So I think that is also a nice little minor quality of life increase. So I'm going to give you guys some up close shots of this. This is maybe where I would say are the shortcomings and the possible weak points of this machine, because I have no doubt this is going to last you a long time. Cabling and all that stuff is going to be fine. I would recommend using a swivel so you don't have that cable twist over time with these types of cables. But the padding is in that for sure budget cheap category that if anything is going to go first, it's going to be the wear and tear on this padding if anything. But that really just depends on maybe how much abuse it really takes. And then these knobs, again, we're nitpicking. This is budget, again, category-ish, but you just got plastic, kind of flimsy knobs. So some of the touch points where you're actually making contact with the machine, That's where I think you feel the budget. As far as the weight stacks and pull and how the machine actually feels and functions, I think that is all there, and that actually feels great all around. I'll talk more directly here about how it feels, but I also forgot to mention, if you are crazy enough or strong enough that you actually need more than 310 pounds, they do include another weight extender pin to go ahead and throw on some extra weight. Or I guess if you opted for that cheaper option, and then like I said, you do have the band peg option here that's present on both sides. You can rig these a bunch of different ways, but I'm just gonna, for the sake of this, for a hybrid experience here, I will leave that as is. I will say the comfort and just getting into the machine is perfect. Being 6 foot feels good. The actual lap bar itself also is, again, it's in that budget category, but still feels good. You do hear that shake of the rod that could be coming from the band, but that is something I did notice, that if you put a weight on there, or sorry, a band on there, you might hear that rod kind of shake there a little bit and hit the plates. Otherwise, this feels super smooth. Almost kind of has a slick wisping noise to it. But the machine feels excellent. And I've said this many times, I do not need more than 200 pounds. I mean, you can go even 250, I think, is overkill for a lot of people. This is another topic for another video. People say they can max out weight easily. You can max out a lot of weight for a few reps, but doing it, slow and controlled is another question. So point is, this has all the weight capabilities and can withstand, I think, what most people can throw at it for any kind of top pull action. Getting into the low row and how it feels and functions and all of that, this is also an area that just feels, budget-ish. You can lock down these knobs if you want to. They got the plastic, spin lock there happening. That's similar in other budget racks. This too is very similar. I've noticed this kind of cutout pattern before, so nothing to write home about. Definitely works well. Nothing too good or too bad with that, to be honest, but definitely more budget. If you lock this down, you can minimize, that wobble. A little hard to get your finger in there to kind of turn it down, but this is just me nitpicking. You can put it all the way in and you can extend it pretty far and then fully remove it if you so choose. But you can see you got a lot of holes here to fine tune whatever kind of range you want. You're gonna be limited, of course. This thing can only go so high. That is a negative thing with, I would say, any of these lat pull downs to an extent. Do a couple reps and I wanna show you this. So notice you got some, movement here, but as far as where it counts, very smooth, no issues here at all whatsoever. It's comfortable, you're sitting from the ground, but I'm not really a big nitpicky person, but that feels fine. One thing that I do think particularly is huge in my book, if you guys have been following the channel, you know I love a good center pull bicep curl action, whether that's with bands or a Vulture or whatever, and this feels excellent right here. You can kind of straddle the machine. I can take this off and I can do some bicep curls. So I'll show you that right now. You of course don't need to take this out, and I could just stand on this side of the machine. You'll probably see a clip of me doing maybe a workout with that, but I can stand right in here and back up if I so choose, just like that. For continuity's sake, I'm just gonna use their lap bar for the curl, and I wanna point out something like this. So you do have some chain extenders they gave you, but this will be something that, depending how tall you are, you might hit the top right there. And this is something I first saw, I remember when I saw a Glux comparison with this machine, that I thought was a giant one. That if I was considering a lat pull down low row, this alone would be a deal breaker for me on this machine compared to the Titan. And also, I think the Rogue Fitness one has this option, I think, compared to the Rep Fitness, but I could be wrong on that. But this to me is a huge feature of it that I think further extends its versatility, because if I was gonna opt to get one of these machines, which is what I'm kind of considering and which one of these setups and builds I'm gonna kind of really stick with, and I'll get to that maybe in the conclusion here in a second. All I need is a top, I need a bottom pulley, but if I get this bottom pulley and it's only just for seated low rows and I can't do any kind of bicep curls with it, or it's kind of limited in that regard, that would be a deal breaker for me personally. So summary points and things to consider if you were thinking about picking this up. I will just say right up front, if you are at all considering something like this, specifically this one, now will be the time to definitely get it, because I think at full price, it kind of pushes it out a little bit in its competitive nature. The sense that it does have 310 pounds in the weight stack, way more than I think most mortal men. You got the lat band attachment. They give in a little gym peg. You got some other mini kind of quality of life features. You are of course making sacrifices for some budget-ish areas of the padding and things of that nature. When you say right now it's priced at essentially $1,800, pretty much the same as what Titan Fitness is at with the current sales. And then in the current climate where you got some other really good options out there like the Rogue and Rep lat pull down low row stations that arguably have more features with, you can do center pulls, but you still have that designated station option there if you want. Not to mention also again, the elephant in the room right here with the other cable tower integration competition that's out there. So the Phoenix cable tower, which is sitting right here in front of me, which is pretty much the same price. I actually noticed they raised the price a little bit as of maybe a week ago or a few days ago. I'm assuming they actually sold out because I see they're pushed out till January 16th, I believe. And then you even have the Force USA tandem tower, which I think is a good option if you want more of a short stack, which is about $2,400. I would say this makes a lot of sense for people who want all the weight capabilities, all the little features I just said. It's something less than $2,000 that is just, you know what you're getting. It is a designated lat pull down low row station, kind of no frills at all. I would say objectively as of right now, especially in those minor price points, I would say it's definitely better than Titan Fitness between those two, in my humble opinion. But then I'd say if you're willing to spend more, the Rep Fitness one makes a lot of logical sense. In my mind, it's gonna feel objectively much better with more features added onto it. Granted, you gotta kind of pick up their Pegasus seat or some sort of a seat attachment, that's gonna add on some more money. And then not to mention, you also do the Phoenix cable tower, which I would say again, arguably has more features. It's not a designated lat pull down low row station, and that's maybe why you'd pick up something like this versus even messing around with some simple system like that. Because in closing here, I think the reason why I wanted to try this out in the first place, even though you could say that comparing two different these swivel type machines, it might not be the best or it's subpar, is that I still think there's a lot of value into, for you yourself personally, if you're not gonna mess around with swivels and all sorts of weird cable configurations and tinkering with stuff, and you just wanna go back to the tried and true classics, which I've said many times, we found the gym formula back in the 70s, which a squat rack, some dumbbells, and just a cable related system, really primarily a top and low pulley system. These you can't really beat, so if I want to superset between different exercises, that's where I think something like this kind of comes in versus say an all-in-one trainer. And I would arguably say the same might be true for some of the, say the tandem tower and the Phoenix Getter Up setups, because you'll still have to kind of configure things, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't take a whole lot of time, but also there's something great at just about pulling a pin, ready stack, and ready to go and ripping into it. So all to say, guys, I think it's a good option. I think it's a good option if you know what you're kind of getting into in that lat pull down low row setup and you want to spend less than $2,000. I think this is the best option right now. Hope you found this video helpful, guys. That's the whole point of this, is to kind of show you guys different builds and features. And I will finally, as I'm testing this out, my cable tower, I got pulley setups, I have my Voltra. I'm kind of going through and discovering what I think works best for me and also people that I'm working with, and I think what makes the best option in really giving you guys good quality workouts and things that aren't too cumbersome to set up. Because as I always say, guys, sometimes more toys is just more clutter and really less gains, as I said in the previous video. So hopefully this video is helpful. If you want to pick up anything from Bells of Steel or check out that Black Friday page, help support me in the channel. Those links are down below in the description box, or I'll pin a comment down below, and I'll see you guys on the next one.